Hey guys, this is your host Ray Janjua, and welcome to the House of Rep. This is episode 5. We're talking about Code 8. Now, this is a really cool sci-fi superhero film that debuted on Netflix not too long ago, and it's based on a short film. It stars Robbie Amell and his cousin Stephen Amell. Now, Stephen Amell's really well known for being Arrow, Oliver Queen on the CW's Arrow show, and Robbie Amell also guest starred on that show. So he played Firestorm on The Flash, and then he left the show to do Tomorrow's People, which is based on this really old retro show that I used to watch. It was a really cool show about some kids who got sort of like infused with an alien ship and they could teleport. So they became the Tomorrow's People. So it was a wicked concept. It's based on a novel, and they've done 3 iterations of it so far. So they've rebooted it 3 times. The one in the 90s is my most favorite, and it's the rarest of the 3. So, going to Code 8. It started off as a short film by Jeff Chan. So basically, he teamed up with Stefan and Robbie Amell to make this film, and the original version's got Sung Kang in it as well, and a few other players. Most of the original cast appear in the feature film. They're also sort of like have different roles in the short film. So let's just jump into the actual feature film. We won't talk about the short so much, but basically the short was Indiegogo or kickstarted, and then basically they got all the funding that they needed, and then they started making the movie, and the movie just came out. And I have to say that the movie does a good job at expanding on the short film. So it's an example of when a short film's really well done and really simple and short and sweet and snappy, and then the feature film fleshes it all out. And this is the reason why a lot of us directors make short form films, because it's almost like a proof of concept of the latter film being a full feature or a TV show. A few of the projects that I'm working on right now, they've got that same kind of feel. I'm making a couple of short films that will lead to more. I'm joined by Pri today. So Pri's going to be talking about the film too, because she watched it with me. Pri, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hello, everyone. How is it?
Yeah. So, Pri, what did you think of the film?
Well, I like the movie. Basically, I like sci-fi thriller action movie, but this is more drama. And
Hmm.
even though like it was more like a drama film, when I watched the whole movie from beginning till end, it was amazing. It was well made. I mean, as you mentioned, Jeff Chan. I mean, he's done only like few movies, I think.
Yeah, he's done a couple.
Yeah, like few movies, and this is I've never heard about this director
Hmm.
before, but like when he did this, it was great. It was one of the great movie, and the best part was like about the superpowers.
Yeah.
Like everybody was having superpower, and the main actor, what was his name again?
Robbie Amell.
Robbie Amell. He had the
Yeah.
power of electric.
Yeah.
Isn't that good? Like when he was being hired, like by those criminals, like to break the bank.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully you've seen the film before you watch this podcast. If you haven't, watch the movie first, then come back to the podcast, or at least watch the short film, because the short film's available for free on YouTube, so you can still get the gist of the story before you watch the movie. And we're gonna be spoiling a bit about the movie and the plot, so in this podcast. So yeah, pre-carry on
I
what you're
just
saying.
said few things, and I think if they haven't seen the movie,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like,
Well, there's some cool things in it. So, like, Stefan Amell is really used to playing superheroes, and so is Robbie Amell, because they both played superheroes on the CW. But the way they portrayed these characters was pretty good, because he's like everyone's got different kinds of levels of strength, and he's a
electric.
an electrical, they call him, or something like that. That's the code
I think
name.
electric level,
Yeah, so
uh,
he's a level,
electric. I don't
well,
know.
he's actually a level 5
Yeah.
but when the film starts, everyone thinks he's a level 2 when he's actually
Mm,
more powerful, but he hasn't trained himself. So Stefan
yeah.
Amell trains him to become better at surging and using his electrokinesis powers.
Yes.
The other thing that's really cool is that Stefan Amell plays a TK in this, so he's a telekinetic, and there's a lot of other different actors and players in this. There's a lot of great Canadian bit players, like people who have just been in like so many TV shows and movies whose names I forget, but they're really good actors. Sung Kang also has a great role in it, a supporting role as a human police officer who actually has a powered child, and that's caused a rift in his marriage. So that was an interesting kind of angle to see, like how
Sankang?
people, yeah, Sung Kang, yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
I saw Sankang like 2 arms distance.
Yeah,
Oh
Pri
my
Pri has a funny story.
god.
Yeah, so she was working and what was it? Pri, tell us the story.
Well, I was working at the festival or an event. I can't remember. It was years back. Basically, I was working.
Okay, cool.
And I just remember this incident. It was like in central London.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I think he was going for a jog or something, and
Right.
he was just resting for a bit. Like he was like literally 2 arms distance,
Yeah.
and I was trying to figure it out. I saw this person somewhere, like literally trying to figure it out in my mind.
So
I
you
never,
mind blanked him, like
yeah,
you couldn't
and
figure
I
out it was
was like,
him.
who the hell is this person? And then in like fraction of second, he flew.
Okay.
I was like, and then I realized it was the actor.
Right, okay.
It was a funny, funny
So
thing.
Sung Kang, if you ever listen to this podcast, man, dude, we definitely want to work with you, but you probably already met Pri before briefly. I don't think you'll remember her though. Yeah.
Ever, because it literally flew like
Yeah.
wee.
But you've met a few people, haven't you? You've met like Luke Evans and Vin Diesel briefly,
It's
and stuff like that.
extremely, extremely briefly,
Yeah,
honey.
yeah, like
So
especially Luke.
I
Luke,
don't, I
you
don't.
were taking a photo with Luke in at a premiere, and
Yes.
you were with some friends at some premiere, and you met him, right?
Yes,
Like,
like for a
and
few seconds, like he
yeah,
came out. He was such a nice gentleman.
yeah, I've heard good things about
Yeah.
Luke. I want to work with him. He
And
seems
the
like a
funny
great
part
guy.
again, I have another incident, people.
Yeah, so tell us
When
about
I
it.
saw Luke Evans, oh my god, I had this camera. Obviously, I want to take the picture with him,
Yeah.
and I was obviously a little bit nervous. And then he took the camera from me to take a selfie, and he asked me, "Did you get it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got it, but it wasn't the selfie."
Right.
I
Okay.
didn't take the selfie. I didn't
Right.
click it.
Right.
And
Okay.
he asked me twice, "Did you click it just to be sure?" But I was so
Yeah.
nervous that I said yes.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
wasn't there. But
Right.
that was the fourth or the fifth click, so it's okay. I still have the
Okay.
origin, like the first and second.
Right. 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 Okay. Cool.
So yeah, there was another
Yeah, you
incident.
see, he's such a
Interesting.
cool guy though, because he was going out of his way to make sure that the photo was right and stuff, And I love
Yeah.
those kind of like, I like
Kind,
actors and
humble.
exactly like
Yeah.
people who basically have like they don't let the fame, they don't let there's a time to celebrate your success, but you don't want to let it kind of completely make you an egotistical douchebag.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people that I am really reluctant to work with, and I get kind of like worried about that some of my heroes are gonna be like douchebags. They're not gonna be who I expect them to be. So I hope, fingers crossed, that a lot of the people that I think are great, or they give off this impression that they're great people, are actually great people behind the scenes as well as on camera. Like as a filmmaker, as a director, there's a lot of difficult people I've worked with. There's a lot of great people who are just like salt of the earth, true kind-hearted individuals, and I would like, hug them every day and like, feel this energy, feel this positivity and love from them. There were other people who are just difficult because they've got this kind of attitude when they're
Yeah.
coming on set. As a filmmaker, as a director, I'm sort of like like the shepherd. So it doesn't matter if the person's difficult, you keep that professionalism there, but then you know where you stand with them in future
I
work and
mean, for
stuff.
me, I feel like, if they're kind and humble, I mean, they are the actual actors because they are giving a real example, like not only in the movies, but behind as well, like the real
Mm,
characters about them. So I feel like we obviously we admire them. We give them as a role model, you know. That's a
yeah,
very good thing to do if they are really kind and humble. And if they start showing that attitude, oh my God, even if I've liked them before, I would never go back ever again if you
yeah,
have actors like that. So
yeah,
yeah, this is
yeah.
kind of like
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, we like to see one of the kind of like things that we do in life is we like to put people up on this kind of pedestal and think that, okay, this person's famous, so they have to be this certain way. And at the
mm,
end of the day, they're humans and they have their own flaws, their own hang ups, and they could be having a bad day. But let's imagine that you've become really successful based on your acting. You've gone through all that process, you're making money. Now the money doesn't matter, now the success doesn't matter, the craft is all that matters, and you just want to take it seriously and you kind of want to just do your thing, but you're constantly being hounded and harassed, and they're trying to basically take from you everything, like all the time that you thought that you originally used to have. That takes a kind of a process. It's kind of like a learning curve for a lot of younger actors. As soon as they blow, they become famous, they find constantly being under the paparazzi's eye or in all the kind of gossip magazines. Sometimes if you don't have a thick skin and you don't know that they're just trying to sell, like an aspect of you, it can really, affect a lot of actors, and they can have like breakdowns and, go into kind of substance abuse and kind of problems like that. The way I like to see it is that when I get successful, when I get famous, that's part of the deal of what I want to do. I am a public figure. I am out there. There's certain boundaries, that people, hopefully they won't take the mick. I will never ever deny someone a photo. I will never ever deny someone a autograph, no matter where it is, but it has to be in places that are, common sense kind of stuff.
Within
So
boundaries.
yeah, within certain realistic boundaries. Like it's okay if I'm eating in a public restaurant and you came to me and said, "Hey, can I take a picture with you and stuff?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, sure." And then I would, you know,
Not at the gate of our house.
yeah, exactly. Like things like that. That's a good example. Like if someone's at the gate of a
That's
house going,
creepy.
Ray, fucking come out, like and stuff, like things like that, like this, they're going crazy and stuff. That would be a little bit different. But let's say I'm going for a piss and some guy's like, "Oh, I
What?
loved your film," like he's right next to me in the stall, and he's like, "Yo, Ray, like that movie you made, like that new Batman film you made is so wicked, and like I want your autograph, mate. Yeah, can I take a photo with you?" I'm like, "Dude, man, I'm taking a piss right now. Like, let's do it outside, like things like that. Those are the things those are the kind of boundary lines. But like when you see like celebrities snap with their kids, when people push the boundaries and stuff like that, like you're just trying to spend time with your family, and then they're just trying to get all kinds of like crazy shots of you and stuff. That's something I've never experienced right now because I'm at such a, you know, sort of like early level in my career. It's taken a long time to get to where I am right now, and it's still a great journey to get to the other level, where you guys will get to see all my stuff. I mean, my biggest kind of passion and my drive is for you just to see all the great films and ideas I have in my head. Like, I'm constantly thinking up of new films and new franchises. If they gave me Batman and they say that we want four different versions of Batman, I could literally give them a TV show, an animated series, a movie franchise, and also probably a new comic run. That's how creative, the juices are that flow in my brain. It's just like, you know I don't know where some of the stuff comes from. It's like, I will just sit and think, and I'll get an entire franchise, and then I'll have to write this thing down and then vault it, unfortunately, because I just don't have right now that kind of level where I could make this tomorrow. If I had that kind of like blank check stuff, you'd be seeing like a true X-Men film. You'd be seeing something that people will go, "Wow, I never thought that we could get those colored costumes on film." Like there's a lot of things that they've just done wrong, like that I can easily fix for them. If they want that same kind of MCU looking kind of X-Men, I can do that for them. I can bring Fantastic Four back. Like there's a lot of stuff that that they've dropped the ball on that I could just pick up and do a slam dunk with. So yeah, sorry, going back to Code
But
8.
hopefully one day
Yeah, pretty.
people will find you.
Yeah,
Hopefully one day when we look back at time, we're like,
yeah.
yeah, you guys made the right
Yeah,
choice.
that's what's great about this. We're chronicling where we are right now, so that we can come back and look at this. Not look at this. I mean, listen to this. Later on, hopefully, we'll have video versions of them, and then we can look at those as well. But everything's really great. I love doing the House of Rap. I love where we are and what we're doing right now. I'm at a point in my life where things are really great, and they're gonna get better. It's really cool. I mean, it's been a while since we've done a few things, but that's not any fault on our part. It's just the way life works. Life throws you a couple of curveballs and you've got to deal with them. So we got really badly delayed on our last project, and then the COVID-19 thing has come. So that's delayed us even more. So people are suffering out there, and I hope that soon you guys get to see the magic of what the Rep Nights are bringing. Anyway, back to Code 8. Yeah, Jeff Chang's film.
Sorry to bore you guys.
No, definitely not. They're
No, no,
not
no,
gonna
no,
get
no,
bored at
no.
all. That's the whole point
I
of
was
this
just
podcast.
joking, honey.
Yeah, carry on, babe.
So, what did you, if you had the superpower, like in Code 8, which one would you like to have?
I like the I like the healing abilities of the Enforcer guy because I've always loved that kind of power that Wolverine has, that invulnerability.
Mm.
Um, I've always loved electricity powers, so being an electrokinesis person is cool.
Mhm.
But his thing is TK power was cool as well. Like Stefan Amell's power. But I'd say I go with the electricity if I couldn't
Yeah.
if it was forced on me. But if I could choose it, then I choose healing like Wolverine because it's very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
I
about
I
you?
think I'm gonna go for Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, so
I
you'd
wanna go
be.
outside,
That would be
like
cool. Her
literally,
powers are great.
literally fly outside the
Yeah,
earth,
yeah.
and literally be the
I mean, the way
savior.
she got energized by that drive
Yeah.
is just really interesting because her powers are just like from a kind of like a irradiated level. So she's
Yeah.
constantly generating this kind of energy,
Mm.
and it just makes her really powerful. She's like one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. So they
Yeah.
proper jacked her up because when she was Miss Marvel
Mm.
originally, she was
Yeah.
wicked. Then she fought Rogue, and then Rogue absorbed her powers, and then that's why Rogue can fly
Mm.
and has super strength because she
Mm.
held on to Miss Marvel for too long. Then
Mm.
Miss Marvel fell into a coma, and then she got very angry at the Avengers for not being there for her. So she
Why?
left the Avengers for a while because it was some kind of mission that she was on,
Mm.
and she was staying at Charles Xavier's X Mansion when she talks to them,
Mm.
and she has a beef with them. But then Rogue basically becomes a friend
Yeah.
because like she betrays her mom. All of that can be touched on quite nicely in the movies. That's a nice way to bring in the X Men with Rogue being like this, you know, sort of like a terrorist with Mystique, and the X Men try to stop her, and then secretly they're working for Magneto or something.
Mm.
So there's a lot of things that I think what they could do is they could do a mutant click, like she turns on and makes the mutants Scarlet Witch
Mm.
because she can see different realities. So in the Wonder and Vision show that's coming up, where she's trying to deal with the loss of her husband, not
Mm.
her husband, like her lover Vision, she could bring him back somehow by manipulating reality, and somehow that creates the X Men and the mutation, and reality changes a bit. So the X Men have always been there. So that's a
Yeah.
way that you could retcon the franchise and introduce the X Men properly. So, because we've got Deadpool, we've got the X Men, but that's lame X Men.
Mm.
Even though people like James McAvoy, the other guy who plays Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, all the people in Deadpool, and all the people in the kind of remake of, like the reboot of X Men is wicked. The original franchise was fantastic too with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and stuff, but they really were wish washy. Like they just don't look right. Like this just stuff like the stuff that Bryan Singer does is just not right. I've never
Mm.
really been a mega fan of this stuff. I mean, obviously I was gushing all over it when it first came out, but as I watched them, when Brett Ratner did X Men 3, it just all went floppy, the franchise. It was really disjointed. The only things that were really good were Hugh Jackman's films, but even um, the Wolverine messed up the Japanese, the whole Japanese storyline
Mm.
where he goes to Japan because he was always in Japan. Like he would always go visit Japan, and he had like a big connection. He lived in this small island, fictional island state called Madipur, which was a bit like a cross between Japan and Taiwan.
Mm.
It was a bit like a Taiwanese kind of island, which he used to kind of hang out at, and he was called Patch. That was like his alias. He would wear like a patch, and everyone knew him as Patch. So I felt that they missed the chance to do all that by setting it in modern day, where he meets um, Mariko, sort of like late in his X Men career, whereas in the comics he meets Mariko a little bit earlier, and then he loses her. So she's actually one of his wives that he
Mm.
marries because he had another wife called Itsu a long time ago, and she got killed, um, and then his son got taken from him, and his son grew up to be a villain. So a lot of that's missing. So Ken's missing. We got X-23 and Logan, which was quite cool. Logan was actually, Logan was a very dope film, because it was just different, and the first time actually that you saw Wolverine doing all the kind of like hardcore, violent kind of adamantium claw rage, the fighting and stuff. So it was a lot more darker than the other kind of X-Men films have been. Yeah, so we'll go into that in detail. I'll do a couple of podcasts about the X-Men franchise and how I can fix it and make it better and my kind of what ifs and stuff.
Hmm.
Going back to Code 8, let's go to
The
Jeff Chang's
Guardian.
directing. Like Jeff Chang's directing was very good. He
I
did a
have, as
very
I
good
said
job.
before at the beginning, I have never heard about Jeff Chan before,
Yeah.
and he's done only like few movies. And when I saw this Code 8 and also what on Netflix, I mean, it was quite a nice movie. I mean, as I said, I like sci-fi, thriller, action, but this was more about drama, which was still
Yeah.
like,
It's a lot slower. Like I was
yeah.
expecting it to have more action, but the action beats are selective.
Yeah,
You know?
but still, it was a
Yeah.
good movie,
No,
even
no,
though
it was
it
great.
was a
Yeah,
drama.
yeah.
And
Started off a bit slow. I would criticize
yeah,
that
you
because
were
I
like,
was getting proper
yeah,
bored in the
like
first five
literally in
minutes.
5 minutes, Ray was like,
Yeah.
shall we change the channel or the movie?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, no,
I thought maybe this film. I'll
let's
be very
see.
honest. When the movie started, it was competently shot and it looked great, but it was dragging its feet a bit in the first few acts because obviously we got to build up his struggle. But I'm a very action fantasy kind of kinetic director, so I love having a little teaser at the start where the stakes are really high. Then we cut to something a bit more mellow. I'm not really a guy who starts things mellow. Like that's just my style.
And the funny part is like, this actor Robbie Amell, he's done like only soft kind of a movie.
Mm.
I haven't seen him in any action. Has he done any
He's done a lot of action on the CW, like
No,
as
because
Firestorm and
I see
people.
him as a soft movie, like romantic comedy or
He's done a
some.
lot of those as well.
Yeah.
That's really what he was known for. Like him and Stefan done a lot of Warner Brothers stuff.
Mhm.
Like CW kind of rom-coms, rom series, Beverly 90210, shows
Yeah.
like that. That's really where they kind of were cutting their teeth. Like
Uh-huh.
Stefan Amell had a run on that. He had a run on a few other shows.
But what I'm trying to say is like as even I always portray him as a soft actor, like
Yeah,
never
yeah,
like
yeah.
a action type of actor, but
Mm.
he did a good job in this
Yeah, he's very
movie.
good. I mean,
Like
his range is normally really badly stunted in a lot of the stuff he does.
mm,
They just don't give him enough. Like,
mm,
when he was
starting off, no.
basically when he was the Firestorm guy
Mm,
for a few episodes, he just hardly did anything. It was only at like near like I think it was the end of the pilot, not the pilot, the beginning episode of the second season. He did the most heroic thing when he sacrificed himself to kind of shut the vortex off. But Professor Fine survived, but he died,
mm.
and then the other kid takes over as Firestorm. The mechanic kid. Um, so it's just a bit different, like the way they handled Firestorm's character. I kind of thought that Robbie Amell should, I don't know, not return, but he needs to be in something. Like he would play a good Kyle Rayner or some other character um, in the DC universe. Like he needs to kind of come back into something. But yeah, he's doing great in Code 8. Hopefully, Code 8 becomes a franchise for him, and something that he
Yeah.
can kind of sink his teeth into and make it his own. I mean, he's quite good as the kid in that. Did you think of Stefan Amell, his cousin?
Uh, well, I think it's the first time he was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've never seen Arrow.
Which?
Because Arrow is one of like the biggest shows on the CW right now. It's like I've watched all seasons of it. It was a bit of hit and miss. I have to be honest. Like Arrow started off really great. It started off like Smallville, and
So
like
maybe
Batman.
after Smallville we can watch Arrow.
We'll be giving you a very big review on Smallville because I introduced Pre to Smallville just recently, and I've been watching Smallville for years. It's one of my top shows, like that, Stargate, Star Trek. These shows they lasted a long time, Supernatural and stuff. They're my top favorite shows. I haven't watched Supernatural in a while. I'm a couple of seasons behind on Supernatural. It just got a little bit slow for me. Crowley was in the series of way too much, and it kind of dragged on, but I've got to kind of just marathon it through and kind of like complete the series because I'm getting to a point where I have to, like I have to see the end of it. It's kind of like The Walking Dead too. It's like, Walking Dead's went to a point where after Glenn got killed and Negan came, like, Jeffrey D. Morgan's one of my favorite actors. So I really wanted to see what he could do with the Negan character. In the end, I just didn't want to really watch the show anymore. It got too boring for me, and I ended up just watching kind of like like a nice video. There's a guy online who does kind of quick recaps. So I just watched the series that way and then understood the story and stuff. So yeah, Arrow had the same problem. They had way too many kind of wishy-washy arcs. There was way too much side kind of backstories, too much of the island stuff. The Russian stuff was so crap with that
I guess
that
we'll
gang.
do a review on Arrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's
Yeah.
focus on Code 8 now.
No, carry on, carry on. So let's talk about Code 8.
We're talking about the cast, isn't it?
Yeah, so supporting cast, you liked them?
Which one? There were quite a few.
Yeah, but like who stood out for you?
Um,
You liked Connor's mother,
yeah,
Robbie
yeah.
Amell's
I
mom.
mean, I think she acted well,
Mm-hmm.
and
Cara Machette, she's a good actress.
yeah, definitely she is. The healer was also quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who else? Oh, I like that the badass lady. Was it Leslia, the one who came to kill the drug dealer?
Oh, that's a
I mean,
different actress.
the
That was not this
psyche, the
actress. I
psyche
think that was
Casey.
Casey Haduki, maybe. I'm not sure. She played like the kind of assassin, but Leisla de
What was the
Oliveira,
name of
she
that
played
drug
Maddie.
dealer? The psyche.
Psych.
Psych.
So
Yeah.
the plot of the storyline of the actual film is really cool, where there's a small percentage of superpowered individuals, but instead of them being lauded and celebrities and kind of like all out there, they're actually ostracized for their powers by the government because people siphon the spinal fluid from them and they use it as a drug that gives people a high. So there's a crazy black market of this kind of site going around, and that's really the whole kind of gist and anchor of the story is that there's like a big time dealer. Um, Robbie Amell's character Connor gets kind of stuck into it because he's a day laborer and he uses his
Yeah.
powers to kind of get the work done quicker, but you're not allowed to do that without
Like a
licenses.
daily pay.
Then after a guy gets killed, there's the ostracization. It's almost like that thing that happens to people who are basically ostracized for their race or something's going on. So basically they're marginalized, they're ostracized, and they're treated like shit, like second class citizens. So even his mom, who's a cryo, she's suffering from cancer, so she's got a tumor that's pressing against her brain, so she can't control her powers. So sometimes they trigger like when she's washing her hands or she's trying to work in this like store that she works at. So her bosses are like a total douchebag to her and treats her like shit. And then that pisses Connor off and stuff. And when Connor starts making money doing these runs for Stephen Amell's character, like things start to flow for him, and then obviously he lies to his mom. He's got like a day job. She finds out that creates a lot of conflict for them, and then she starts getting sicker and sicker, which is sad. There's a lot of great beats. Cinematography was excellent in this film. It was also excellent in the short. It had this beautiful look.
Yeah, I liked it.
The CGI. What did you think of
It was
all the
good.
things? So the drones were great.
Yes, the guard.
You like the Guardians?
Yeah, that was so cool.
They look cool, right?
They were like
So
dropped off, and they're like,
yeah,
and the way they were shooting, like,
yeah.
like they're like,
That bit was cool when they took out that bad guy's base at the end of the film.
yeah,
So you can see them like they're like really efficient
they were
defenders.
really good. They were
And the cops use them as shields, so they're the ones who always go first into a room.
yes.
So that's really cool.
And then the night shooting,
Mhm.
they were doing the shooting in the night.
Mhm.
That was a good scene as well. Do you remember that
Mhm.
part?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was amazing,
Like
man.
when basically they raid the club.
Yes.
They raid the club and they cut the power.
Oh,
So,
yeah, they got the power.
yeah,
Sorry.
so you can see all the laser sights and everything dancing
Yeah.
around when they shoot up all the guards and stuff in the guy's strip club. Like the strip club's like the front of his
Mm.
his operations and stuff. So it's really cool. It's a really sick the action beats when they do happen,
Yeah.
they're really good, so they're really nice. Like I think Robbie, Stefan, and Jeff did a really great job of putting this film together. They're like really really good production team.
Yeah.
You know, it's really good to see Stefan Amell
I
still
mean,
working.
if they're gonna have any more franchise, definitely we're gonna go for it, isn't it? We're gonna
Yeah, well,
watch
check
it.
it out. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's really good. So production design was great. Costume design and music. There's really not much to talk about it because they were just like very, everything's kind of real. There's no fantastical kind of costumes and stuff. So everyone was just wearing normal clothes and stuff. Score was a little bit forgettable until the end of the film when there was like a really deep moment with his mom when he was trying to get healed by this healer actress. That actress who played the healer, she was okay. Her character didn't really have much to do, so
Yeah.
she didn't really stand
But
out
I
for
wish
me.
she had the power, as a healer, that she just heal and doesn't go back to her.
Oh
Or
yeah, yeah, but
yeah.
that's one of the kind of trade-offs of being a healer.
Yeah.
You get the pain and stuff,
But
and
like a temporary, not like permanent, because I think
yeah.
she gets it permanent, isn't
I
it?
think it
Or it would just
she gets it for a while, but eventually her body heals it, I
heals it.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that part, but
Yeah.
it was sad. Like she has to take, like being a healer, she has to literally bear the pain, and she's getting everything. But I mean, whatever other people were suffering from.
Mm.
But anyways, that's the movie. At the end of the day, it's how they want to be. It was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up. Let's give it a rating out of 5. Babe, what do you think it should be?
For Shield.
4 shields.
Woohoo!
That's a pretty high score.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like sci-fi. I told you before.
I do as well. I
Yes.
do as well.
So
But for me, it's a 3.5. Only because it was a little slow for me. And you know me, I love the
I
fast films.
I like fast movies. I like
Mm,
action, but
mm,
even though there was a drama, it
yeah.
was it was it was good. I still remember those 5 minutes. We're gonna change the channel. We're gonna change it, babe. Like
Exactly.
no, let's just see what's happening next.
But you even said you were bored at the start, so let's not
No,
try to
no,
say.
at the
You
start.
said at
No,
the start,
no, no, no.
oh, I'm not really
At the
feeling this, so
start,
don't
you
try it.
said
She
it
said it
first.
too.
No, no,
She
no.
said it too.
No, you were the first one.
Yeah.
You
But
pushed me. You pushed me.
you also didn't want to really
You
see it for a
pushed me.
bit, yeah.
But it's good we
But
watched it. It
yes,
was good.
I'm happy we watched it because
Yeah.
the guys did a good job on it, and I want to give them a lot of praise, and I want to, like, I I really 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 liked what Stefan Amell did with the Oliver Queen character. He made him very like, like deep and with a lot of nuance, and I felt that in Arrow he should have got a little bit more, um, like a little bit more props for what he did with the character. I feel like he's a very underrated actor. He
Hmm.
really worked on his physique. He's one of the guys with like the best. He's got a very strong look, great physique, can act. He's got like the total package. So him and
Hmm.
Chris Hemsworth and a few other guys, they're really pushing it. They're really doing a great job. So I'd love to work with Stefan Amell one day and Robbie too. They're both really good
Robbie
guys.
Amell, if you're hearing this, you should do more action movies.
Definitely, definitely. I'll put him in something. I got something wicked for him.
Come
You know?
join us.
Yeah. Come join the Rep Nights on our project, Robbie. One day, hopefully, we can talk to your agent and manager and get it sorted out. Like, one day, bro. One day, both of us will work together. So yeah, so it's a aggregated 4, so it's a really good film, and we recommend you watch it. It's Code 8's short film is free on YouTube, so you can check that out first to see how it started. But you don't have to see that. You can just watch the movie. But if you're if you're like me, you love to watch different iterations of the storyline first. Then watch Code 8's short film, and then right now Code 8's feature film is available on Netflix, so you can check it out there. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for tuning into this podcast. This is episode 5. Yeah, so they're growing quite quick. And I want to thank Pri for joining me on this podcast as
Thank
always.
you.
And this is the Rep Knights and the Rep Valkyrie
Thank you
Pri
guys for
signing off.
listening.
Thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.
Peace out.